step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fall. My rhymes burn hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing raw like a southern rap messiah. Crossing over lines like I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Flipping opponents like I'm Randy Orton. Dirty South flow, my words they be costing. Every verse I drop got them head nodding. Spit lyrical punches like a ruthless fighter. Got the crowd hype, I'm the crowd igniter. Breaking down the raw matches, no denier. Dirty style rap, I'm the Monday Night Supplier.
What is up, everybody? It is I, the voice, back again for another Monday Night Raw preview review show. And we got Kevin Calloway, the Chaos Goblin, fresh off a In Your House live podcast, and the blue-eyed villain, Grunmeister. All right, Grun, shut up. Kevin, tell us, how good were we Saturday?
Oh, it was
okay,
amazing.
Grun, you jump in too.
It was a lot of fun. I watched some of the tape back, which I think we are releasing at some point once we edit it up. Just 2 hours of the household just going after it. And it was a lot of fun. We missed you there, Grun. It would have added more. But we'll see you on the next one because this is just the beginning.
Exactly. This is just the beginning. And Grun, you were missed, but you would have been a huge impact there, given your insight that we all have grown to love with you.
Grown to love, even.
Grown to love. And you're going to see that in the live podcast. Kevin is quick. So he got Jones came out as Booker T. Nice. Instead of 5-time, he was Vibe Time.
That's what I call it.
Yeah. Kevin came up with that on the spot. It was amazing. Everybody had some fun with that one. And we already got people jumping in. We got the man himself, he is not Hollywood anymore. He is the director, House, the concept. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us. And we got a new one. Charlie's jumping in. Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Saturday was amazing. It was honestly just a fantastic night. Full with a lot of new faces we met, Kevin. And on top of that, we got to see everybody just like be one solid unit on the In Your House network. Yes, we didn't have Grun, we didn't have P, but you guys were there. We talked about you guys. We hyped up your shows.
Don't worry, we'll put you guys over.
We did. We made sure to put you guys over. And, hopefully this catches on. We get to move forward with it and do more. And, maybe we can get Grun out there.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it. I would like Grun to be there. Kevin, before we move on, give me what was your favorite part of the night on Saturday?
Ooh, all thing included or just during the podcast?
Everything from that night, man.
Okay. I think one of my favorite things that ended up happening very spontaneously is during the trivia with the hot sauce challenge.
Yeah.
I just started sampling the hot sauce.
Here's something funny about that. Because my wife watched you do it. She was like, that guy over there, he was just like, he was taking some from every, and he was like just going at it. I was
testing him.
That's what we told him to do. We were like, that's exactly what he was supposed to do.
And it came to a point where one of the audience members just came up to me and he's like, now I got to try all of them after you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was just sitting there with one of the audience members, like delicacy handing him like Cheez-Its with little hot sauce.
Yes, it was so great. One of my favorite things, and exactly what House is saying. This was the next step in the evolution of this team, and it really was. It was something to be there and see. And we got new watcher for us, Nick, chiming in. I've been a call-in on his show twice now. I would highly recommend you guys checking him out. Him and his wife do a fantastic job. It's Nick and Nikki, and they have a lot of great discussions in their community. Man, they're big and they know what they're talking about. And yeah, I would definitely go over there anytime. They got a really cool feature. I'm gonna have to hit you up, Nick, on how to get that feature that you have for the call-ins, because I think that could add something here.
That'd be fun.
Yes, and they're New Jersey out there. That's what I was telling Annie. I think she would really connect, and get that name out that way. And a little Chaos Goblin out towards New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, you could stop over there by Grun on the way over.
I
mean, I wouldn't.
I'm Pennsylvania, Nick. I'm Pennsylvania East Coast represent.
There we go. Oh, and we have House chiming in. He just started eating all the hot
I did do that.
Yes, you did do that, and it was great.
It was my pay for the day. I just walked away with all the hot sauces. I'm still eating them. I ate it on breakfast this morning.
Well, that's good, because I gave them to you. I was like, man, these ain't going to be in my stomach. Yeah, even Scrap Lotto. We started the trivia, and I told him, I'm like, yeah, there's consequences for getting it wrong. And he's like, well, what's the consequence? And I tell him it's hot sauce. He backed out immediately. I was like, well, all you gotta do is be right, and you don't have to get a hot sauce.
All you gotta do is be right.
All right, we got Nick chiming in. Happy to help. Ugh, the accent. How dare you?
It's in jest. I have terrible accents.
Oh, and we also got you need to chug the hot sauce like Stone Cold. Calling you out, Chaos.
That sounds very chaotic, and I think I can make that work at some point.
At some point.
But I don't do shit for free. This is gonna be
exactly. And we don't do it on the spot. We have to have a draw. We got to have a crowd, because that's what we're about. Talking about crowd draws. Let's talk about some outside of wrestling real quick before we jump into that. So I seen January, what was it, 16th? I think it was the 16th.
Yep, 16th.
Donkey Kong Country Returns is getting remastered?
It's like an HD port almost to Switch. So like a high definition version.
Okay, so explain, since you guys are more really involved in the details of video games, explain that to me and the rest that maybe not be into video games. Like, what does that all entail?
More or less, it means that they're taking what was the original game and just adding some HD coding to give it a high definition, make it look better. But it's essentially they're not really changing much with the coding of the game.
Okay.
The game itself probably isn't going to change a whole lot. They're going to keep the original game. Nintendo's pretty good about preserving whatever they've made and then just kind of putting it somewhere else, which it has its pluses and minuses in that you're not really getting like a new game. You might get new collectibles, maybe like 10 more stages instead of a whole new game. But you know what you're going to get as well. So what you pay for, you know what you're getting. It's not like they're calling it Donkey Kong Country Returns and then all of a sudden it's a new game, like from the 2010, I think, original version. That being said, I think the biggest thing that it tends to be is because sometimes when releases go through, they put out games that don't necessarily perform at the frame rates that they want them to. So what you see from that in frame rates is like, it might be like, I don't know, 30, sometimes 20 if it's really high end and they're trying to push the system and they don't really have the technology out there yet. So it'll get laggy during stuff. And that's happened in a lot of games where they're trying to shoot for the moon. I remember this specifically in Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors, like 8 or 9, like they could only fit like, I don't know, 20 to 30 high definition renders on the screen at a time, which does not an army make.
That's true.
So they would just appear out of nowhere to compensate. And it was like, oh man, now I'm surrounded by 30 new guys because I just killed the 30 that were on the screen. So when they go back on these games like that, it allows them to have a better frame rate because we have better technology now.
Yeah.
So now this playing experience is probably going to be way smoother than it was before. I liken it to my favorite comparison actually is the Crash Bandicoot remake. when they did the Insane Trilogy, the game got harder because the frame rate went up.
Well, that's kind of cool though.
And it was the exact same game. Like they just smoothed out the stuff and they just made everything there. They made it how it was intended to be in the PlayStation days, but they didn't have the tech to do it. And when they did it, it made it harder.
Well, I mean, to me, that's kind of fun because that's being a game that's more difficult is always better to me.
Yeah.
And we got Hypocrisy Jones chiming in. Couldn't even eat turkey and noodles today because I can't stand them pool noodle boys.
Oof.
What is this? Has this like turned into like a hate chat? Like people, we got Nick calling you out, Chaos. Now we got Hypocrisy calling out Lou. What is going
call-out
on?
show.
Yeah, it's the call out show, and DW is one of the best strategy games, and Lubu.
So that's from Dynasty Warriors, and I agree in one sense, Charlie, and this is how I'm going to put it. I think the strategy comes into it with the Empires series, where you're really making decisions about the economy of your like country and what you're trying to do. But I would argue that the regular Dynasty Warriors games, until the new ones, didn't have a whole lot of strategy to it because you would just go kill people. However, in every game, I agree with you that Lubu is hard as shit. And I am hearing excellent things about how much Lubu is going to absolutely destroy you in the new Dynasty Warriors game that is coming out in January called Dynasty Warriors Origins. People are playing the trial version or the demo version of it right now. Lubu's killing them in 2 hits.
No shit. Wow. So that sounds like there's going to be a challenge in that. Look, you've already got Grun stunned.
Brother.
Great.
Brother,
great.
I am not moving past that spot until I beat Lubu on stream.
I want that clip. Man, I love it. I love it. Well, and it really does sound like this what they're doing with the some of the older games, and like you were talking about, both of you, with the rendering and it being more smooth, and then it making the game actually a little more difficult. I'm looking forward to that. I think I might steal the kids' Switch and check out Donkey Kong Country. I liked it when I was a kid. I'm assuming I'll like it now, especially if it makes it a little better with what they're doing. So yeah, I think we agree that this is a good thing for games.
Generally speaking,
yeah.
I do think it's a bit of a money grab if we're looking at it
100%.
as a double-edged sword. I do generally think it's okay because at worst you're porting on a generally well-received game, and if people are willing to spend the money, then let them spend the money. And if you're going to make a couple tweaks that make it an easier play, cool. But it does feel a little money grabby. Like it feels bad, man, sometimes, depending on what they do with it.
It feels a little crown jewel. Sorry. I mean, crown jewel's growing on me. It's
Same.
Just still a big money grab. That's all it really is.
Business is business.
Very true.
I mean, crown jewel for me, like like they'll have good matches, but it's like ultimately it's an inconvenience. This year's crown jewel, like there was more story driven aspects to it, so at least there was that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But speaking of story driven aspects, let's dive into it. And guys, we're gonna have to, we're going to have to talk about your guys' subjects first because, well, we just had Survivor Series. In Your House podcast just did an amazing event based around that specific PLE. So before we get into that, fans, I got a little taste for you for what you missed out on. And this was one of the highlights of the night. It was called a promo battle. And yes, I caught the tail end of the specific promo battle. So let me pop this on before we dive into it. And then we're going to get right into talking about all things Raw and Survivor Series.
I than a jelly guy. You know what else I can jam? I can jam your head into this ground, right into this ground right now, brother. I only like marshmallows when it's in the powder form, yeah. I'm just saying, I went down the street, yeah. The Kokomo press, more like Kokomo unimpressed, yeah. I ripped off Barry Weinfeld. I had to. Outhouse Records, more like I'm gonna outhouse and wreck you. Oh. Bring your wreck to me. I'm a little bit more on the top, yeah. All right, who we got?
Okay, so that was a fantastic promo battle. There was a whole nother section before that. When this drops, fans, you have to check this stuff out because this was fantastic. This was the Macho Man we had there. We had Stone Cold, Grun. Stone Cold was there and hosting.
How the hell did you get Stone Cold to show up?
We know people.
You know people. Okay.
We know people who dress like people who know people.
Exactly. It's our world and reality is what we make it. So we had Stone Cold there and it was a fantastic night. Stone Cold won the title. Stone Cold's husband, I believe, won the Kurt Angle stuff. And then they traded it for the title that Danger Granger out of the Kokomo Press won.
Mm-hmm.
So he put that up in his studio, pure Kurt Angle studio going on over there.
Nice.
It sounds like. We got Nick. He's chiming in. He loved it. It was a fantastic time. There was so much with that specific promo battle. That was just a portion of it. We got Lou going crazy over there. So let's dive into it. Grun, we're going to start with you.
Can I have your attention, please?
Of course you have an email, you idiot. Just read it.
All right, we're going into Grun talk. Grun, tell us what you want to talk about.
I want to talk about the New Day and how they lost to Alpha Academy. Now, they lost in a very short match. In what was it? Kofi took the pin, was it? Or was
Kofi took the pin.
Kofi took the pin, and Xavier Woods pissed because they never tagged each other in. Or no, I think Kofi tagged himself in, didn't he?
It was something along. I think Kofi did tag himself in. I don't. It was such a blur of a match.
Yeah,
it happened so fast.
Yeah, but the biggest thing that I remember is that they're both wearing a Goku inspired outfit.
Oh yeah,
Kofi was wearing orange and blue, but Xavier Woods was wearing black and red. And for the non-nerds,
give it to us, Grun.
in Dragon Ball Super, there was a version of Goku introduced called Goku Black. Goku Black was evil because he had been taken over by we're gonna say sort of god, Zamasu, in an alternate universe, and killed everybody, including Chi-Chi, Gohan, Goten, everybody, because
everybody dies.
Because Zamasu, he was like, I want to be strong. How is this mortal stronger than me? Because that damn mortal doesn't know how to stop. But the point is, this is very much pointing towards an Xavier Woods heel turn.
Interesting. I know, Chaos Goblin. That's got your tongue ready to dance. So let's hear it, man.
It does. But I've known. Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for this because I agree that that's what they're presenting to us. But what if it's a swerve the other way? What if it's Kofi? So I get what they showed us, but they know that we're going to make those connections, right? What if they go with Kofi instead to reverse that? I think there's also a possibility that we can't rule out, and that's that all of this gets solved. and all of this gets solved, Big E just had a big article in the news. Big E comes back, and everything gets put back together. So there are 3 possibilities coming out of this. I don't see them. I don't really see them getting back together without something else prompting it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be just Kofi and Xavier hash it out like brothers. I don't think that's how it's going to go down. However, I could definitely see, because Big E wants to explore doing other things. If he isn't clear to compete and it isn't safe for him to compete, I hope to God he does not, because that's a serious injury, and I don't want him to risk it simply to get the high of being in the ring. I've seen too many people change their style of life. Like you could look at Draws, who passed away very recently.
I was just going to bring him up.
His quality of life changed, not because he even like disregarded doctor orders, but simply because something went wrong.
Yeah.
And that's all it took. So if your neck is already weakened, don't test fate. Rant aside. Big E could come back in a different capacity, though, and he could be the hype man, because Big E is very, very good at that.
Yeah.
And it gives him another role on screen than just panel guy at the beginning of it, which he's doing great at. Don't get me wrong.
I do like him on the panel.
Yeah.
But bringing him back to a TV capacity, I don't want to say he's wasted on the panel, because I don't think that's true, but you could utilize him more than the panel.
Exactly. And that's a great way to put it. I like that. Grun, we got Nick asking you, okay, go back and explain the Dragon Ball Z one more time.
All right. So at this point, Vegeta, Goku, they've had their kids. Trunks is born. They're born in this timeline. Gohan is a bitch. They fucking ruined him.
You bitch.
They did. They fucking did.
Grun. Yes, we understand that, but find a better word, Grun.
I do.
Sorry. We're trying to be more professional. I got that.
Outer.
So this sort of god person, Zamasu battles Goku in his universe. Goku beats him. He's mad. Talks to the Super Dragon Ball Super Dragon for a Super Dragon wish that allows him to switch bodies with Goku. Goku kills everyone in the universe.
And he
travels to another universe because he made deals with another version of Zamasu from that universe. It is at this point,
this universe,
that is some Marvel universe, like not even cinematic universe. Like this is comics.
Yes,
this is straight up comics.
This is
universe.
But in Earth 638,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Venom was the good guy the whole time.
You just didn't know it.
No, yeah. At this point in the Dragon Ball universe, there are 1,000 universes with 1,000 different Gokus.
Very true.
Okay.
So, well, I like how you caught that with the differences in who was wearing what, and I really like how you threw that out there, Kevin. That could be the swerve in itself, you know. Although if I'm speaking completely onto this subject, I do want to see the Xavier turn, just because I don't think Kofi needs that. I think Xavier does, though, to give Xavier that extra layer to him, because I mean, if I'm doing the math, I think Xavier is going to be around a few more years longer than Kofi. And that's nothing against what Kofi has done or is capable of doing. It's just the amount of work Kofi has put in. And Xavier's done the same thing, but I believe Xavier's a few years younger than Kofi.
5 years younger. I just looked it up.
5 years younger.
Xavier
So
Woods is 38. Kofi is 43. I don't know when their in-ring careers started though, because that's another big difference.
That,
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up. So what really interests me tonight though is exactly what this is. This is the 10, is this the 10 year?
10
Or
years.
10 years,
10
yep.
years for New Day. Do we think, before we move on to Kevin's subject, do we think that that is going to play a major role in what we are discussing with the turn tonight?
I mean, without a doubt, that celebration really has to be the culmination of it, right?
I think so.
I don't think there's a way around it. However you want to do it, it has to be there.
Yeah.
Because looking at it as a person who has gone over cards, who has gone over booking ideas, and has been in those meetings, there's no reason to prolong something when you're at the apex. Like, this is the opportunity to do something. So if they keep going after this, like if they keep going and nothing like big happens here, and they're just going to do the turn like 2 weeks from now, they shot themselves in the foot.
Exactly.
Because you have such an opportunity with this 10-year anniversary that they've been building to. They've been hyping up for like a month. I've been hearing about it for like a month.
Yeah. And imagine all the emotion that's going to be invested in this from
Think of
fans and them.
That promo from both of them on each other after the match last week was wild.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
It felt
I don't think it was
personal.
talked about enough either.
It wasn't
No.
talked about enough. It was the best promo I've seen either of them cut in their entire career.
I was going to ask you that.
I'm not saying that their promos were bad prior, because I think they did what they needed to do prior. And when they were out there having a lot of fun during the peak of the New Day, I think those were excellent promos and excellent sketch comedy too.
Yes.
So I want to throw that there. But as far as really blurring the lines in a day and age that doesn't usually get blurred, or it's harder to blur, and in a day and age where you can't get people to believe something, I heard many people across interwebs and in person say, wow, that one felt personal.
Yeah.
And as a worker, I guarantee you it wasn't. They are friends.
Yeah.
I promise. But when they were in the back, they looked at each other and they said, we're going to go into each other like we're in character here. So that means we're going to bring up the past that's already happened. I want you to not take offense to what I'm about to say, because it's going to get bad.
Yes, but that makes the best promos.
Exactly.
And that's what, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but if you go back and you watch me and House, we interviewed Sabu. He talked directly about that. That's why him and RVD had such great matches, such great chemistry with each other, that they were willing to go that extra mile because they trusted each other and they were friends. Outside of when the cameras went off, they were friends.
And that's a big problem sometimes.
Yes.
That is. All right. Before we move on, is there any last things you want to hit about your discussion?
Really just to double down on what Kevin said, that whatever's going to happen is going to happen tonight. Whatever is the next step in this story, it is not just another step towards a turn. It is the turn.
Interesting.
It is the resolution one way or another, whether
Yes.
it's a turn or coming back.
I got you. And real quick, Grun, can you hit this question that was directed right to you, my friend?
Yeah.
So what Grunmeister is getting at is, in Wood's eyes, in expressing himself through his attire, he's justified in his actions.
I think, yes, I think Xavier Woods does believe he's justified in his actions, and I'm on the side of Xavier Woods. I think Xavier Woods is right in everything, because I mean, like, if I'm in Woods' shoes, like, I'm happy that Kofi and Big E have had their time as big single stars, but the only time I've held gold is as a tag team, and we're not winning as a tag team. So I'm getting fed up. Like, maybe I just need to go out and do this on my own. And Kofi, the veteran, believes that he knows better, and believes that he knows what to do.
Right.
And if I can comment,
yeah, go ahead.
WWE is a singles. I am going to sure the bloodline is definitely rare, but I don't think you can say that WWE is a single star company just because they have had numerous successful stables regardless of level of success. They've been successful in getting over. They've had plenty of stables successful in getting over. Alpha Academy, even when they were with Chad Gable, while they did not win a lot of championships, they were entertaining.
They were over.
They were over. They were entertaining.
I get what you're saying.
So I can definitely see where you can see that there are a lot of stables, and a lot of stables, yeah, did not really succeed. But I mean, like, Right to Censor was not, I would say, not very successful. But at the same time, Right to Censor was a great heel stable.
You're bringing in Right to Censor. You're right.
They're-
You're 100% right with what you're saying. I truly get what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure Nick is. I'm pretty sure he's getting it. He's a pretty smart guy.
I think
He disagrees with me on Alpha Academy as an example.
I'll keep this quick on the comment because I agree with what Grun's saying. At the same time, yes, there have been traditional stables in the past. The most over people are single stars. So your biggest thing is going to be in the single star. So I understand where Nick is coming from in that the single star company, the single star is the one that we're really attracted to. Like, that's the one that we really want to go for.
Sure.
That being said, based on how Triple H has been since he took over, we're seeing more stables and they're starting to build momentum. We're getting people like Final Testament getting into more things. We're getting people like the Wyatt Six. Those are people who are getting talked about. So
True.
Just to keep it short, I think traditionally, yes, singles matches in the history of the wrestling business, not just this company, I'll go further, has been the draw. It's the one-on-one. It's the mano-a-mano. But
I like it.
Looking at New Japan and everything like that and what we're seeing now, I think stables are going to start making a comeback in WWE.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I
just
think
look
so,
at
yeah.
the Bullet Club is so huge. They're everywhere. I mean,
Oh my God, it's insane.
Were, because right now they're in a bit of a funk,
They are,
just
yeah.
booking wise. But I mean, they're incredible talents, but booking wise, they just need something to kick them.
Yeah.
we got my co-host for the bi-weekly conspiracy show, Conspiracies at Seas, jumping in here. Viking Storm, how goes it?
I got
And
him
he
his
is-
figure.
Yes, he did. Oh, I let him know. Don't you worry. So January 25th at Frontline Pro, we are bringing Mustafa Ali for the
Nice.
season opener. That
Danny
is
O'Neil and I will be there.
fantastic.
Hell yeah.
You guys will. You will be there. So that's fantastic. That's going to be great to get insight on Mustafa Ali. I'm pretty excited for that. He let me know.
Good.
Yes. All right. So let's move on to what Kevin Calloway would like to discuss.
He can't fire me.
He will buy that pissant company just to fire you again.
All right, Kevin Calloway, let us know what chaos you want to get us into.
So, as are generally true with the topics that I pick, I like wild speculation to bring about a little bit of chaos and a little bit of discussion. So, really, mine is very open-ended. We're coming out of War Games. We have a number one contender for the WWE Women's, or I don't remember if it's the World Women's title or the WWE Women's title. It's the Raw Women's title. It's still easier for me. I'll get it one day.
Yeah.
We have a number one contender already in Io Sky. However, at the end of the War Games match, that champ was also pinned by Rhea Ripley. There's also the state of, because these titles are on both shows, the state of the women's tag titles. Because currently, Jade is injured, and she is one half of them. So now, how do we address the situation not just with the World Women's title, but with these tag titles? because we need someone to slot in and either take up for Jade, say maybe Naomi slots in and they freebird it over to her, like that's a possibility, or they run a whole tournament where they do Bianca Belair going into some other singles thing, because I think she'd be nice against Nia Jax as the next challenger.
I like that.
So looking at our Raw Women's division, we have a lot of teams that could vie for those titles and can make it interesting, or at least give them something to do to grow their stuff. And as far as the World Women's title, you have 2 contenders now, I would argue, as opposed to 1. So what direction do we go after this chaotic War Games match?
All right, Grunt, I'm going to let you take that one over, but not before we let everybody know Luna, the young Jamie of that bi-weekly conspiracy podcast.
Woo!
She's our fact checker. She brings everything up, and she's with Viking Storm. So you know what she's saying is true, because they're out there on the seas and he'll throw her overboard if they're not. Well, no, he wouldn't do that. He's such a nice guy.
I visited Pirate Bay too. What?
All right, Grunt, hit us with your ideas on what Kevin's talking about with the women's, not only tag division, but the world division.
So first, I'm going to talk about the women's tag division. I am out of that. Nope. Nope. You guys can find another. No, I am not getting in the ring in a War Games match against the White Six. No. Okay. Find someone else. No.
As a person who's been in a War Games match before, I don't want to.
The War Games match is bad enough, but now we're going up against Bo Dallas, Joe Gacy, you see Dexter Loomis, and Eric Rowan. I'm sorry, those 4 men are not in the right state of mind.
And there's a non-zero chance the lights go off and my dead body appears next.
Yeah. And I look like a weird, just portly child without a beard. So
Also
no.
true. Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah.
No.
This
No.
double
No.
chin.
I haven't seen my
butt
full
chin
face
comes
since high
out.
school, and I'm keeping it that way.
Oh, here we go. You got it.
Yeah.
You know what? You got somebody who's on your side, and then all of a sudden they're not on your side. Run, Meister. Am I right? This
Oh,
is
man.
you guys are East Coast brothers. What's going on here?
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? New Jersey loves and hates New York. New York loves and hates Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania loves and hates New Jersey. New Jersey loves and hates Pennsylvania. Okay, we can't explain to you why these 3 states hate and love each other, but they do.
You guys are just in this vicious cycle.
Yeah, it's a vicious, weird cycle. Okay, we don't.
Well, get
we
us
don't have
into the
any-
cycle of your thoughts on the women's division on Raw.
Yes. So with the women's division, the women's tag team division, if they keep the titles on Jade and Bianca until Jade comes back, the women's tag team titles mean nothing. Women's tag team division might as well be dead. That is not a question. That is not an opinion. That is a fact. Okay, because I'm sorry.
Point.
Yeah, because like you have other women's tag teams. The Unholy Union have been off TV for a few weeks, but it's like you could make them the face of the women's tag team division, or you could go with Liv and Raquel and give some babyface tag team a chance to rise and become the number 1 team. As far as the women's world championship, which is on Raw, Rhea Ripley, it appears, because I heard a little bit of what she talked about after in the press conference. It sounds like she is going to hold off and allow Io to have her fair one-on-one title shot, or at least make sure that she gets a fair shot.
Oh, so she'd be like the heater keeping out Raquel Rodriguez.
I could see her doing that if Raquel gets involved and then Rhea accidentally costs Io the match, and then that moves us towards a triple threat, which pisses off both Rhea and Io, because Rhea has a reason to demand a title shot, but now she has to do it against Io and Liv, and she screwed over Io. Io's not going to be happy about that. So Io's going to. This could definitely be a way to push the Rhea Liv feud a little bit longer.
Without having like a singles match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question, and we'll get to your statement here of Viking Storm, or your question to us. My question though is, with going off of what he's saying with Jade being out and things like that for the tag division, don't we have Io and Kyrie on Raw?
We do.
And Dakota Kai.
Yes.
And Dakota Kai. So here's my thing. Why couldn't... Okay, I know Io is next in line for Liv. I get that. But this whole Jade thing was not expected, was it?
No.
So that kind of takes a big major piece out, because I mean, from what I'm hearing, there's actually an injury with her, or something's going on.
There's a lot of flooded reports.
Yeah.
So generally, to me, and this is just me speculating and looking at some of the stuff I've seen in the past, when there's a lot of reports that are differing, chances are they're just keeping them off TV for storyline. That's Occam's razor.
So it's strictly storyline.
That's what I believe.
Okay, so that's where my attention should be then, Kevin, in your
Jade,
opinion.
in theory, look at a War Games match and how chaotic it is.
Very true.
War Games matches are very hard for people who are more like choreographed in their movements in the ring or anything like that. So when you have a War Games match, it's 40 minutes of being in that ring, trying to do things and calling stuff on the fly and keep it entertaining. That's not going to be Jade's strong point right now. So writing her out of it makes the most sense, so that you can build whoever the attacker is, which I guess doubles into Viking Storm's question.
Very true.
Do we believe Naomi or not Naomi, but Bailey did it? I think no to Bailey, because she was a last minute addition, and to me, it looks like Bailey has been targeting other people.
Mm-hmm.
Not targeting. She's still targeting like Nia and Tiffany. I think Bailey ends up spinning off into something with Tiffany. I don't think she ends up against
I would
Nia
like that. I would like that.
I would too.
Yeah.
Who I think attacked her is either going to be, and I think one's a long shot and one's far more likely, and we talked about this on Saturday. I think one could be Bianca Belair. That one's the long shot, because I think you want to keep Bianca Belair as a face for as long as you can, maybe forever. I'm not going to lie, because Bianca Belair is one of those people who's like, she's like the John Cena of the division. You might be tempted to turn her heel, but she does so much good for like young girls who are watching WWE that turning her heel might be more detrimental to your business than you're thinking about. Like, you're just thinking about the good story, right?
Yeah.
But if you do that, you're taking something away from a lot of kids who watch too. That being said, I think the far more likely option is Naomi. Because Naomi, they're tight knit together. They're all three of them together. But man, only two of them seem to be tagging together and holding titles. Naomi's outside looking in most of the time.
Very true.
What if Naomi's a little jealous? What if Naomi wants some of hers? Yeah. What if Naomi, there's many different what if Naomis you can do with this. Like, it's ripe for a heel turn. Could you do someone else that's unexpected? Maybe you're returning like Charlotte Flair or something like that. Sure. But I think the story's far more ripe for a Naomi.
I do too. I'm there with you on that one. Grun, why don't you hit us with what your thoughts are, and then we'll get into the one, the only Annie O'Neill's question she had for us.
I'm going, you know what? I was almost warming up to the idea of Bianca being the one to attack, but Kevin talked me out of it and talked me into Naomi being the right, because I've been feeling for a long time that Naomi, her glow shtick is fun for kids. It's fun as a heel, but there is no mileage in it. It is fun, but if you want to be, it is great for toys as all to be have a glow championships and stuff. But I don't think you can ever have a long reign if you're the glow girl.
I mean, that
And I
makes
think a
sense.
heel turn adds something to her,
Mhm.
where and it's an
100%.
easy way to give her. She's already credible enough, but she doesn't feel credible because she's the same gimmick that she has been. So giving it a wrinkle, I think, would just immediately ascend her back to where she was.
And plus, it's like the Bailey. When Bailey got that mean streak in her, she even jumped even higher. Yeah,
She went up
and
the
then
card.
now she can play in the both worlds. So I
Mhm.
think that is the ultimate thing for Naomi. Which brings us into exactly what Annie O'Neill is asking. How do you guys think the women's War Games match would have differed if Jade had been in it?
She would have been a focus at the end. She would have cleaned house and let the war games begin.
That's what I was
Mhm.
thinking about. You would definitely have to make her at the end. And this is I love the progression of Jade Cargill.
Same.
I love the progression of Nia Jax. But I live in reality, and I know that there's a lot of people out there who just spew nonsense and hate no matter what any of them do.
Mhm.
So to me, if you had Jade in that match, it would have just added more fuel to that fire. They would have nitpicked. They would have been like, oh, she's the last one in because she can't carry like you said, Kevin, a 40-minute match. Oh, she can't do this, she can't do that. And like you said, a lot more of her move sets. I mean, it's gotten better and she's expanded upon what she's able to do, but a lot of it is still choreographed, which is perfectly fine for any wrestler of that size. I mean, come on, tell me a Kevin Nash match, any match as Diesel, as Kevin Nash, as Nash. Tell me one that you were like, man, he's really improvising out there. He never was.
You know what? I think Kevin Nash actually was a lot, but the reason I say that is because his moveset was very simple. Kick, punch, throw. Kick, punch, throw.
And
he could call that on the fly. But Jade's, she's far more explosive. She needs people in the right places to do the power stuff, to do the intricate lifts. It's harder for her not to choreograph it and talk about it in the back. And not only that, but based on her experience level and how comfortable she is in the ring. This is, again, not a shot at her. I love her progression. I love seeing it. She's been ascending ever since she got there easily.
Yeah.
But based on where she's at, she's still probably, and this is outside looking in, I'm not in the ring with them. She probably still needs lead a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. AEW did her no justice whatsoever with Jade. They pretty much
They did marketing well.
They did marketing, yes. But when it comes to the in-ring, they absolutely did her they did her nothing in there. I mean, yes, did they get her name out there? Yes, of course. But to me, it seems like, and I don't know, Kevin, maybe I'm speaking out of pocket, but it seems like when I go to a promotion or I read into a promotion, if I hear about the wrestlers that are backstage, like getting on to guys about maybe little things that they know, but it's not like beating them down. It's letting them know, hey, these are the things to pay attention to. Like you always have to Sabu said it best. You have to know the basics before you can go and do the flip.
Yep.
And if you're messing up the basics all the time, how are you going to ever be able to do a safe, successful flip? And I mean, that's what I see. And to me, AEW didn't have that backstage with her. It was like she was protected, almost like, and I'm going to say it, Goldberg. It was like a Goldberg protection. And there's another guy. If it's not choreographed, depending on who's in the ring, he can have. I mean, his match with Raven, I will say, is one of the best Goldberg matches I've ever seen. And I enjoyed when he split his tongue, when he got tripped on the chair. I popped really hard for that. I was like, yeah, finally, he bleeds with not hitting his head on a locker.
And different people have different styles. So, like, there's nothing wrong with calling more things in the back. Some of the most classic matches were that way. Look at Steamboat Flair. Or not Steamboat Flair, Steamboat Savage.
Very good call.
There was basically talked about for like 3 weeks prior was always the story. And they were just nitpicking. But they knew their audience. And that's kind of where it is knowing where your audience is and how to get the best out of the pieces that you have. So Goldberg's for example, Goldberg was best utilized in small scenarios, 10-minute matches, let it be kaiju combat, and you're going to get business out of it.
Yeah, very true. But if you try to get him into a mat,
Don't have him do a technical classic
yeah,
with people.
yeah,
It's
and
not his strong suit, and you're gonna expose things that he not necessarily doesn't know how to do, because I don't think that's true, but isn't what you signed him for. Like, that's not what he's there for. He's not there to do a Dean Malenko 20-minute classic.
yeah, exactly. No, that's 100%. And we got Viking Storm chiming in, the best choreographed match ever.
Yep.
Because Savage wanted it to be talked about for decades, and that's very true. I mean, that match, go back if you've never seen it. Oh my God, you're going to be in for one of the most production matches ever, but in a good way. It was so produced. It was beautifully done with what they knew, how they knew each other in a ring. You can't get better than that.
Yeah.
Well, you might be able to, but I'm kind of, biased, so that's mine.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hit Survivor Series real quick. We had 5 matches. What was your guys' favorite match and maybe moments of Survivor Series? Grun, don't think too hard.
Okay. I guess my favorite match was the Intercontinental Championship match. It was 2 meaty men versus a German, and there really is no better way to describe it. It was
Just
it was
German.
3 people. It was 3 people that knew how to hit hard and were more than happy to take all the beatings.
Yeah.
Beatings. Braun Breaker again just steals the show. He's fantastic. Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus just beating the hell out of each other and beating the hell out of Braun, and Braun just throwing it back. It was the spot fest of
I'm going to say this, Grun. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say Sheamus stole the show.
Okay.
I think he stole the show in that match. Just the amount of brute force he took from Ludwig and
Dude, that's
Braun.
Shillelagh.
Yeah, he was lit up with that thing. And but I can definitely see where you're coming with Braun.
And I'm not going to argue that Sheamus didn't have a ton of great spots, and Sheamus didn't come out looking like a monster.
Yeah, he actually really brought me full circle back to Sheamus. Like, this is old Sheamus, and I absolutely love this. Kevin Calloway, why don't you let us know what you're thinking?
Well, I'll actually go through the other person. I thought Ludwig Kaiser stood out the most to me during that match. He had those moments, and it was just talked about in the comments. He had the moments that got you. His timing was impeccable in everything. He was almost the glue that held the match together. But as far as my favorite match and favorite moment, I'm going to pick 2 different ones.
Okay.
I did really like that match, though. Actually, I liked every match on the card for differing reasons.
That was a good card.
I think my favorite, and this is just me as a wrestler looking into it, I loved Gunther Damian Priest. I loved that match. And the reason I did is because of Damian Priest selling and how they told that story of Gunther couldn't get an advantage, couldn't get out of his own head until Damian threw out his shoulder. Then he was a shark smelling blood in the water for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But he still couldn't put him away no matter what he did. And then finally he needed help in order to do it. So now this doesn't solve anything for Gunther's crisis of confidence in the slightest. And it reignites Finn Balor and Damian Priest, because after that we had the Judgment Day brawling with him in the backstage. So now all of that's involved again. And as far as my favorite moment in it, I liked the War Games matches, and I'll honorable mention this moment because I thought it was really well done on the fly, because Jacob Fatu worked the internet again and everyone thought he was injured.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah.
I promise you he's not injured.
He sells that so well, though.
But the way he sells is so good.
Yeah.
He is one of the best salesmen in WWE.
He's the Mickey Mantle of selling.
It really is. But But my favorite moment, and this might be a little bit off the wall for a lot of people, because I think it flew under the, maybe not under the radar, but the match itself, I don't know if it underwhelmed people, but it didn't underwhelm me, is LA Knight and Shinsuke.
Mm.
And Shinsuke and how he won was the moment for me of the night. The reason I say that is because it was clean as a whistle, other than one eye gouge. Then he just dropped him onto that in-between steel, and then just a clean Kinshasa to the back of the head. No kickouts, no nonsense, no burying anything for the sake of a PLE. Shinsuke wins. Done.
Yeah.
And to me, that moment solidifies Shinsuke as a player going forward, which is something they haven't done when he's come back in the past. That's
Very
why I
true.
think this is a very meaningful moment.
No, I'm going to agree with you on that one because he was one of the only ones outside of a War Games match to use that steel.
Mhm.
And the way he did it, it was so impactful to do that and then hit him. LA's Knight, he needs to get his head checked because he just took a lot. And I'm playing more of that the finisher up, but Shinsuke's so precise in everything that he does that it's so beautiful. It makes you think that he's legit murdered somebody in the ring with his moveset.
I love his new style, because the wandering samurai gimmick really allows him to take stock of a situation and be more measured. We've
Very
seen
true.
more of a flurry Shinsuke Nakamura in the past with his style, where it would, flying fist, flying fist, flying fist. And they all look great. He's one of the best strikers in the entirety of the world, and I'll die on that hill. But that being said, I like the more measured style he's taking, where it's like, boom, one kick, boom, one kick, like a tempo of that instead of a tempo like that.
No, I like that. I like that. Grun, what were your thoughts on the Shinsuke Nakamura?
I think they're taking Shinsuke Nakamura seriously for the first time since he got to WWE. I think the last time that he was taken seriously was when he won the Royal Rumble and had that match at WrestleMania against AJ Styles. That was the last time he was taken seriously.
Mhm.
After that, Vince McMahon looked at him as nothing more than just another Japanese guy, and it's
Yeah.
like, look, I don't like Japan. Look, I don't mind Japanese wrestlers having the Japanese persona, because fact is, like, there have been nobody tougher than people come from New Japan Pro Wrestling. But it's like, when you don't treat them like the tough badasses that they are, or like what the hell's the point?
Yeah.
No, I like it.
I mean, we're probably going to finally see Shinsuke win a world title somewhere down the line. I think this could be the run that finally gets him there.
I would not be upset with that one bit. So before we close out, let everybody know where to find us. We have the Lou chiming in with one last question. Is the LA Knight run over? Let's get everybody going. And Viking, we did see what you said. He would like to see a Logan Paul Shinsuke match.
I don't think that would be bad, but both of them are uber heels right now, so it's going to take a little bit of time before we get that.
Yeah, but I would love to see it. I would definitely love to see it. So
That'd
let's hit on that LA Knight run. Is it over, fellas?
I think it's in the process of being over. I think what we're going to see is the Miz at some point transfer into an off-screen character, probably a producer, maybe more for PR stuff. Whereas LA Knight will fill the void that the Miz leaves.
Okay, I could see that. LA Knight kind of fills a similar role in that he just wouldn't probably be a Hollywood persona. He would probably just be more like loudmouth jerk that works with celebrities, because he is such a journeyman worker and a really good, just easy persona to work with in the ring, that a celebrity match for him, or guiding celebrities or anything like that, would be a good role for him.
Yeah.
Especially because he's a little older too.
And plus he could do the talk show circuit. And
exactly.
Stuff like that, and
his promos are great.
Catch. Yeah, exactly.
So why not put him in something that he's good at? But as far as as far as the run being over, I think it's still got some time in it.
Okay.
I think the honeymoon period is over, though. So what I
Yeah.
mean by that is LA Knight is still getting reactions based on, his LA Knight Yaz and, everything and his promos in general. But I touched on this on Saturday too. LA Knight has almost felt, since he won the title, more heelish than he's needed to. And I think that's ended up shooting him in the foot booking wise.
Yeah.
Because now people are a bit more torn between the other people he's working with. So like he ruined the 7th match of Carmelo and Andrade, and everyone got mad at him because he's the one that did it. That's a heel move. It doesn't matter if you're the special guest referee. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter that you're this don't care about anything babyface. The only person who's gotten away with that really in the history of ever is Stone Cold. Stone Cold could have walked out there, done whatever he wanted to do, stunned the most beloved child actor, and people would have still like thrown a beer in the air and said, "Hell yeah!"
They would have.
It wouldn't have mattered. But LA Knight doesn't ascend to that level of like infamy or like don't care about things that Stone Cold does. And not only that, but it's a different era. So him going out there and doing those things, I think actively shot himself in the foot, but he's going to get it back now that he has a rival in Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
I think he's going to face Shinsuke for a while. Shinsuke's an uber heel who's doing heelish things, like incredibly heelish things. And I think we're going to get over the fact that Shinsuke Nakamura is now the champion. We got that out of the way. Now he can be the heel he's meant to be without the honeymoon period of him coming back and him winning a title.
No, I mean, that's well put. That's well put. And yes, I do think he stunned Gary Coleman.
I'm pretty sure he stunned Gary Coleman. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I see where you're going with that, Viking Storm. And yes, well, you just proved Kevin right.
And he got away with it.
Grun,
wild.
what's your thoughts there with LA Knight? And Ken, you know what? I forgot to say it earlier, but this is our Paul Heyman right here.
Yeah.
Ken is our longtime viewing us. I mean, he's our longest reigning one. So we always appreciate you and thank you for the kind words. Yeah, that was my point. That's what he said. All right, Grun, hit us with it. Is the LA Knight run over?
I gotta agree with Kevin. I think there's still some juice in it, but I think we're definitely past the honeymoon phase, as Kevin put it.
Yeah.
Because I can't see them just out of nowhere throwing Miz off TV. I think it's going to be a slow process to where they remove Miz from TV while slowly moving LA Knight into that position of the Miz. Maybe a feud between LA Knight and the Miz. I think they had a feud a while ago.
I think so. I think when LA Knight switched back to LA Knight instead of Max Dupree or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So I can see them going that direction where maybe there's one more feud, except this one is loser leaves WWE or whatever or something.
Gotcha. Well, like we always do every single show, we're going to put a pin in that one because that's definitely one we're going to have to keep an eye on and see if the LA Knight train is done for. I don't believe it is. I am agreeing with my co-host here, and we got the Lou already. He's already got us a emote for it. Putting a pin in it.
Got that on speed now.
Yes, we got you, Lou. Thank you for always being here with us. So guys, it was a great Survivor Series. We had some great new questions to be asked, such as which Kevin touched on with the women's division in Raw, and honestly, even with the Bloodline, it leads us down a road where we may not have traveled before, because now Solo does look very uncertain at that very end with everybody on the original Bloodline staring him down. So I can't wait to
follow.
Exactly. And the one of the biggest prizes in the WWE, even though Jones says it's Dom, I'm gonna say it's the Ulafala.
I think Khan said it was Dom. Jones says it's the Ulafala is the most over title in WWE.
Yes,
Ah.
that is there. Yes, you have corrected me, and that's why you're the co-host on this show. And Kevin, why don't you let them know where they can find you and all the chaos you create?
All right, so let's obviously here every Monday, right here, sat in this chair, 7:00, Window Lickers. Also, you can find me on Facebook at Kevin Calloway. You can find me on Instagram at Calloway Kevin. First stream back on Twitch is tomorrow at 4:00. So I'll be there live for about 2.5 hours, probably until Annie gets home, because she's got her own podcast to do, and I don't want to stream during it.
Yes.
You can also catch me on the Dear Pro Wrestling podcast with our boy Paragon. That airs on Thursdays. We finally have a day that we're setting aside to record every week, so it will be coming out weekly. And yeah, that's about where you can find me right now. I think I just learned that my knee injury is probably a little bit worse than I thought. I think it's an MCL sprain, so
no.
I'm not going to have any shows probably throughout December. I'll be working that back up and getting back into training before my return, which I assume will be at Sanctuary in January.
Beautiful. Get rested and make sure you're 100% before you get in there, Kevin. We all know you got the mindset to make sure you do that.
I don't like being injured.
Yeah, who does? Well, maybe Grun does. Grun,
No.
why don't you tell them where they can find those blue eyes and your villainness?
You can find me at twitch.tv /Grunmeister, sir, where I will be streaming every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Grun's Room SmackDown review show. And I'll be also covering post Survivor Series and potentially what we can see in the lead up to Raw going on Netflix in January.
Ooh, that'll be a good show. So check that out. And you said that this Friday?
This Friday, 7
Awesome.
p.m. Eastern.
Beautiful. So go hang out with Grun in his room. And of course, it is I, the voice, Joshua Joseph, where you can catch me is here Monday nights, 7 p.m. You've seen what we did. You know what we do. So come be a part of it. Let us know. You've seen the whole show. We let you have your comments up here and we talk about it. It might sidetrack us a little bit, but we get back on course and we hit you with that Raw and we send you into Raw. I know we're going a little overtime, but that's okay. It was Survivor Series. You can also catch me on the Friday night ECW watch along where me and House, we go extreme. We are deep into ECW storylines of ECW Hardcore TV, and it's been a fantastic one. We are set to hit November to Remember 1997. So come join me this Friday. Maybe House might be there. It's looking a little better on his schedule, but who knows? If not, you'll still find me. And then on Sundays, you can come and hang out with anybody who's in the household ready to party and just have a house party. And that's what we do on Sunday. It's usually around 11:30, and you can join us. That's in the AM. And we have a ball. We talk about everything that has happened that week in wrestling, and we talk about whatever you want to talk about. And like I said, Viking Storm was here. Luna was here. Bi-weekly, we have been doing a conspiracy show, and we are joining this Saturday. Will be the second installment, and we're getting into the cryptids, the National Forest. Ever heard of them? Wonder why they're always so protected? Maybe we're going to find some things. Who knows? But me and Viking Storm, we will set sail at 8 p.m., and you can come and join us and have some fun. And you'll see our young Jamie there, Luna, in the background, giving us the facts. So all that is a part of In Your House podcast, and we got so much more. So come join us, come hang out, and we will see you on the next one.
Shake?
The words you're looking for are thank and you. Put them together, they make a nice sound.